up here in Newtown, Ohio, and I'm Anthony Ford with Kong Armor, the world's toughest deck armor. I was brought up here because of a 2x6 deck that was severely weathered. Customer wanted to see, hey, can your lifetime deck armor system, can Kong Armor, can they bring this old weathered 2x6 deck back to life? I said, yeah, we can bring it back to life, plus we'll protect it for life. Check this out, look. So, a few days ago, this here, and you gotta excuse this, they don't have their pool or anything open yet, right? But this here, you're talking about severely weathered wood. And when I mean severely weathered 2x6 wood, it's a lot different than a standard deck that has the thinner deck boards. We're talking about big, thick 2x6s. So they expand and contract a lot. Well, that expansion and contraction causes thousands of cracks and splintering and stuff like that to come up in them. And so they're viable, they got a lot of life left. But in order to rebuild their surfaces, you need a thick build coating, number one. And you need tons and tons of experience pressing into 2x6s, filling in cracks, that type of stuff, to do it properly. Now, here's the thing. We brought the world's toughest deck armor in here, Kong Armor. 30 to 60 times thicker than thin residential deck paints and stains. Otherworldly tougher, right? And its big ability is something we call encapsulation, where we can actually come in. Look how beautiful this is now compared to what it was. Let me zoom out. Where we can actually come in and we take Kong and we drive it via brush and roller into all the cracks and all the hairlines of a deck. And then the other thing is to fill in and fill over all of the nail and screw holes. Okay, that's its big ability. Is at the end of the day, it's so much better at resurfacing old weathered stuff like this because it's able to fill it in. It's actually able to rebuild the surface rather than just put a coat on top of it, right? But 5 coats through here, so super build with Kong. The deck rescue painters, we went around and we just pressed and pressed and pressed until we got this out. Same thing, rail systems, 3 big heavy coats everywhere of the world's toughest deck armor, and they've just turned out just stunningly beautiful, right? Kong can bring back any severely weathered deck. 2x6, 2x8. I might be doing one that's 2x10 in Union, Kentucky, that's all weathered up like this one was, right? Deck rescue painting from Kong Armor is the answer. If you have peeling paint with it, fine, right? We'll do the peeling deck paint lockdown encapsulation too. Kong can do that, no problems. But just look how beautiful. I mean, we went from this severely weathered, beat down, on the verge of replacement deck, and here we are 48 hours later, right? And we're talking about a deck system that's surfaces are completely armor encapsulated, completely rebuilt. We restored everything. She's got new cap rails, all the bad and rotten boards that were in here. I think we pulled out about 10 of them, right? Got all the worst ones out of here. Tightened up her rail systems. I built her a pair of rails over here, so she got washing, restoration and repair, the encapsulation, and then all the features that come with Kong Armor, the lifetime deck armor system, right? UV block technology that deflects up to 95% of UV rays, splinter lock technology that locks down splinters, locks down frayed wood, protects kids, protects anybody from accidental puncture injury, right? We talk about tough film technology that's rated to take on wind-driven rain, sleet, ice, hail, all that type of stuff, up to hurricane wind speeds and beyond. I mean, just look how thick and how tough of a coating system Kong is. If hail comes and hits this, it can resist damage up to hurricane wind speeds. It's been tested at category 3 with nothing. I mean, not even a nick, right? Now, unlike her other coatings that she's used in the past, Kong is rated for foot traffic. Cincinnati decks, they're part of our lives. And so we walk on them, we use them a lot. You have to have a coating system that's rated for foot traffic. And as you can see, rain is starting to fall already on this structure. And look, just take a look. We can go ahead and we can look at the benefits of Kong at work now, right? So if we look, all the nail and screw holes are now, before just a few days ago, these nail and screw holes were wide open to the rain. Look, they're completely covered over now. True water lock. Water cannot get to the nail and screw holes anymore. That's a big deal. I know that's boring to you guys, but that's the biggest deal and the best benefit that you could ever derive from somebody that you pay to resurface your structure. If you're not getting that from whoever you pay to restore and resurface your structure, you've wasted your money. And Kong delivers it. There is none of this precipitation right now. None of it whatsoever is getting to these fasteners. Now before, they had a sealer on here, right? You guys talk about sealers and how they're so great and they soak into the wood and they're so powerful, right? Well, before, with the sealer that was on here, all this rain, look at all this. It was just going right to the nail and screw holes, and it was diving down into these cracks that weren't covered up. Now look at the physical barrier that we got now. Look at the physical barrier. Look at the difference. With Kong, the cracks are filled in, so the water can't get down into the wood, period, right? It can't get to that fastener, period, right? So what do you think is superior? Do you really think that thin stains that leave all the cracks open on your deck and don't cover over your fasteners and don't have any physical barrier protection for your structure whatsoever? Do you think that's superior to a high build ultra tough coating that covers all that over and truly water locks it? Which one do you think, right? Use your noggin. You guys have to stop. And I mean, you have to stop paying these guys to come out and put thin residential deck paints and stains on your deck just because it's cheaper, right? You might think it's cheaper and you might think that you're getting away with, but you're not. It's the same thing that everybody ends up with when they don't maintenance and care for their structure. In a 10 to 15 year or 10 to 12 year window, you're going to face a major restoration, a major tear down to the frame rebuild. With Kong, if you get that physical barrier protection that's locally backed here in Cincinnati for life, right? And you have access to us coming out and doing annual cleanings, us coming out and making sure that all the cracks and everything is still filled in, and you've got that benefit for life of ownership, you don't face that major tear down to the frame situation that your peer deck owners face, you know, every 10 to 15 years. Or the complete refinishing cycle every 3 to 5 years that your peers face, right? You don't go through it. So you pocket massive savings. You pocket on the front end. We save this customer right here. It's got to be 40 grand versus tear down to frame composite. She gets to pocket all that. And then here in three to 5 years, she pockets another savings when she avoids a refinishing cycle again. And it just keeps piling up, piling up. That's the power of thick build. That's the power of actually bringing in physical barrier protection and water locking your deck with the world's toughest deck armor, Kong armor. All the rest of it that you guys see out there, it's just junk, right? Ask yourself this. Are they willing to locally back it for life? Are they willing to stay with the customer for life locally? If the customer needs help, are they willing to come back out and look at their work? If you get an answer of no, you know why. You know why, right? Because it's not going to be there. It's not going to be there to provide any type of protection for your deck. It's just a money gimmick. Thin residential deck paints and stains, they've always just been a money gimmick. That's I mean, that's it. That's all they've always been. So we're wrapped up here from on the verge of replacement to fully cleaned up, fully restored, made indefinitely viable again, and then locked down, encapsulated for life, locally backed for life. Kong armor, lifetime deck armor. If you have a severely weathered 2x6 deck, if you have a severely weathered deck with peeling paint, or you've got a brand new deck that you want the toughest protection for from the get-go, it's real simple. Get the physical barrier lifetime protection that you need via the world's toughest deck armor, Kong Armor. KongArmor.com.